I am Lottie Ellington, burlesque performer. Been performing for going on 13 years. I started in Richmond, Virginia, and I'm originally from Detroit, but I started in Virginia, and then just before the pandemic, I moved back to Michigan. Actually, was in the Dirty Show before I was in the Dirty Show. So I was in the Dirty Show. When I was in Virginia, I did some art modeling, and one of the artists had done a piece with me, and he submitted it to the Dirty Show. So he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to the Dirty Show," and I was like, "Oh my God, that's in Detroit. I wish I could come." And then years later, when I moved back to Michigan, I was like, "All right, I'm back at the Dirty Show." So and he submitted some other work. I haven't been in those works, but when I see him at the Dirty Show, we always hang out for a little while. Just performing this year, keep saying I'm going to submit art, and then it always winds up the inspiration comes in late December or early January, well after the deadline. So maybe I'll just hold on to a couple things and be ready to submit for next year. I'd like to submit, I just hadn't. And the inspiration kind of hits at weird times. In previous years, I did acts that I had already fully fleshed out that had been in my repertoire for years, and I just put those on. Last year was a newer act, and I was like, okay, this is a newer act. I haven't had much time to work, to really flesh it out, but working in the Dirty Show, the ability to put that act on the stage again and again and again and again, really the act just exploded from there. Because a lot of times with performing, you have to be able, you can practice all day. You can practice, you can rehearse, you can go over it, but until you get it on a stage, you don't know where the parts are. You think that when you do a thing, the crowd, in your mind, the crowd is going to go wild, and then the crowd gives you nothing. And then it's something mundane that you gave little or no thought to, and the crowd goes wild. So it's being able to find those moments, and you can only find those moments with an audience. So with acts that are very set, acts that I've performed for years in front of audiences, I'm pretty set, so I know where the parts are. But again, for newer acts, it's a very exciting time because you get to edit almost in real time. So you'll do a thing and you're like, that didn't go the way I wanted to, or they just didn't seem to get that. So I need to do something different. And then you do something, you change it a little bit. And the next time it's like, oh, that's what I was missing. Or, oh, that's the part that got the crowd excited. So I will keep that in. And then this other part that I had in there, that can now go and I can add something else in. This will be my second time kind of doing more of the more improv parts to it. Just because, again, kind of the idea was, Dirty Show, it's said, it's this, and wasn't last year, I think it was the year before. It was right when we opened back up from the pandemic, and it was the first time for Dirty Show since the pandemic, and all excited, and I'm like, I'm going to do the thing. I'm going to do it here. And I got out there, and there's just a part of my act that I do, and I do this, and I do a kick. And the crowd just wasn't giving and I was like, oh, in my mind, oh no, you're going to give me my props because I'm up here working hard. And I did the kick again. And at that point, I heard it in my ear. I pulled the muscle just snapped in my leg. And I said, oh, that's bad. That's not what I want to do. Because right. I still have to do this thing one more time tonight, 2 times tomorrow, and then 4 more times next weekend. This is bad. And so I had to kind of figure out in that moment, how do you revamp this whole act? Because you can't do kicks and jumps now because you've injured yourself. And that was the first time that I said, okay, you gotta edit. Because up until then, it was just, this is the act. I know exactly what I'm doing. At this point, I'm doing this. At this point, I'm doing that. At this point, I'm doing this. At this point, I'm doing that. And once I was injured, I said, oh, we can't do that now. So that whole act wound up changing really like on a dime. You have to, and that's a big part of burlesque. You have to be prepared to switch it up because sometimes what you plan doesn't work. Sometimes your zipper won't unzip. Sometimes your glove ends up behind the stage. Sometimes you step on part of your costume. So it's very improv. It's a lot of improv because again, if something goes wrong, if one of your costume pieces just decides it does not want to cooperate, the show has to go on. You can't just say, it won't work. You got a minute and 30 seconds left. You better figure it out.
Cool. So I got a couple more questions for you. So first thing is, so you don't perform one time in a night. You're doing multiple performances.
Yep, you do two a night.
Talk about that. Talk about how many times you're performing and how much endurance it takes to be able to do more than just one.
Yeah, the twice a night it's a challenge. I mean, it's an adrenaline rush and it's amazing, but it's a challenge because again, you get in and you do it once, and the Dirty Show audience is very different than like a normal burlesque show audience is because it's a huge venue and the music is faces outwards, so you're kind of you can hear your music, but you can't hear it as well. And the audience they're here for the Dirty Show. They're here for the art. They're here for the interactive play portions of it. The burlesque is nice, but they're not here for the burlesque. And you have to take a minute and remind yourself, this is something different. This is not a small venue with, 106 people in there who are all here to see me. These people are here for something completely different. They may want to see you, they may like to see you, but they're not here for you. So it's a mind shift of, okay, this is not, in my mind, I might be hot shit, but here, lukewarm at best. First of all, we're in Michigan, and we got a lot going on here. We got weather, we've got, our basements flood, we got all types of things happening. So Dirty Show is just a chance to get out of what you normally do. It is a chance to let your individual freak flag fly. It's a chance to see other people just living their life. There's amazing art. I love the arts. I've been the arts. I love seeing the arts. And it kind of, for me as an adult, it gave me permission to enjoy to enjoy erotic art. Before Dirty Show, I didn't have any erotic art at my house. I didn't have any burlesque posters at my house. I had them. They were stuffed in a drawer. And it's like, okay, yeah, these are my burlesque posters and these are my burlesque pictures. And yeah, I went to a thing and I had a legend sign my picture, but it's just kind of sitting there because I don't know what to do with it. And I went to Dirty Show and they had some old posters from different venues around Detroit that had burlesque. And I bought some of those. And I was like, these have to go up. Like these have to be seen. I can't just, these are awesome. They need to be seen. And so that led to me getting those pictures framed and then taking the pictures that I had in my possession and framing those and now putting those up in my space. So I have a burlesque everywhere because again, it's difficult for me to tell someone that what I do is a legitimate art form and what I do is legitimately art if I am ashamed or afraid to put that very art in my house.